NCHEZGO, Pakanele 97.7 FM. NCHEZGO, Pakanele 97.7 FM. Views expressed on this program do not in any way represent those of the radio station or indeed its presenters, therefore will not be held accountable for the effects it may cause.
Watandalauli batelezi ndi mpokereni kose kwene kumwasanga nyengo ya kuchezga nase munchezgo ya misegano padazi la 22 August 2023. Wakumbirani program hii dazi lino mulina ine Steven Nkoma, munozi ni John Zayawan Mseteka. Kuyana na chimanyisko chene icho chava cha kumfikani, tivenge wakudumbizgana na dada Teleman Zulu vene awa wakamilira pa chitengo cha wachitengo kukansulu mboma la Lundazi kuvisola vya chilimike cha 2021 pa tikiti ya chipani cha UPND kweni valikuluskiwa. Tivenge wakubanga nipera vioyero usange nyengo ya zomerezi katioeko kachingerezi kweneso tioeso kachitumbuka mwanteula. Kumakina ga internet pa Facebook page itu yene iyo ni Kanele 97.7 FM. Munyane uyo wakunuzga vyose ivo ni Edward Banda kweneso Rocks Ems Mukala. Tieni tibetose chifukwa tivenge wakumpaniso manambala kuti muwe wakubafumba mafumbo adada a Teleman Zulu. Misegano nchezgo itu ya lata chomenemene pa ulongozi panji kuti democracy, panjiso tioe kuti governance, chapa fupi governance pa Chingerezi. Adada Azulu mwatandarauli.
Yeo mtelelewi natandara mleo mwongozi natandara makora mkonzi kwa dinamwe.
Natandara makora. Namna yoera pala kuti tivenge wakubanga vitundu Chingerezi nacho mbwenu munga kwaniska kufuatula mwakwenerera. Mwakwambirira nkhanira nangu zunula kubantu au bakupenga kumanya adada a Teleman Zulu. In simple terms, just outline to our dear listener who really you are.
Yeah, Mkonzi, thank you very much for that. Mwanene sana kuti chitundu tibanie kwa most of the times wandu watuchezga nao mbwemu yo ya viveku so kutu yo fluent chitungu kanyengo zineke ngapona. Kwene nchaparirime. Ine ndine Teleman Zulu. Kwitungu kaya kwa Mpamba uko. Pashiga pa Mpamba, late Chief Mpamba was my father.
Okay.
Adada wakawa Mitara. So I was born from a polygamous marriage.
Okay.
School ngasambira palunda secondary school. Grade 8 to 12. So apa ikamba nga basic ndise tikayamba pa iyo Imerundazi township lero kwali wakutinundazi day.
Okay.
1 to 7 ngawapa Mpamba primary school. Makosi tashitako ya nandi.
Okay.
Kienge tustapura inchito ndetangu yambo yo ya CVOs. Kwene ka maximum yo ya kutipelenge grade 12 lero ndio kuti certificate ya kuti mundu aimile candidate ndine nkamilira pa UPND.
Okay.
Mu 2021. Kwenkuku kaya pa mpando wa council chairman.
Okay.
Chikawa chapa fupi ya it was not fashionable to do so at that time to make a decision to contest on an opposition political party.
All right.
Naonga Mkonzi.
Kweneso tieni tilaviske chomenemene nkhani ya ulongozi ene iyo tupenga kuti tidumbizgane misegano panji kuti governance pa Chingerezi. Kupulikiska kwinu pa ulongozi kulimbuni.
Yeah, Mkonzi mafumbo liwe milikuru. It is a key question. So, paratatu ulongozi kunena governance.
Yeah.
Governance is a system. It is a system that provides a framework for managing organizations. So that framework itunanga utipara oro school chama kutisiraba.
Yeah.
So it also identifies who can make decisions, who has the right, the authority to act on behalf of the organizations, and who is supposed to be accountable for an organization or its people, and also create a framework for how people should be your governance. So at national level, if you're talking of a country, governance, you take the word organization as a country, as a nation. So it becomes a system that provides a framework, you know, for managing influence. Yes. So there are decision makers. Okay? These people in decision making have the authority to do so. So in a democratic system like Zambia, we chose this system of governance, democracy. In a democratic system, we elect leaders. Okay? So the highest level of authority of electing a leader is a president. So a president is in charge of a country. Wanatasanga visango vila ungano mtakatila mkwezi 21.
Yeah.
So this president creates a team. Okay?
Yeah.
He's given the authority by the people to create a team that will create a framework, a system. You understand?
Yeah.
So the president has to have a people, a team that will create a system because he has the authority. Now this team has the authority and this team will have to be accountable to the people, to this organization, to this country.
All right.
And to be answerable.
All right. Well,
and so us as former candidates, as members of UPND, members who are part of the system that is governing this country, we are answerable and accountable to certain issues to the people, and not to the party.
We'll talk about that later. I want us to get back to way before the 2021 general elections were held. We had the Patriotic Front in government. You didn't campaign for them. You didn't dine with them. What didn't you like about their governance system?
So, the Patriotic Front, remember, won on the premise of what they created, the framework. One, the Patriotic Front had promised us, the Zambian people, that there will be a pro-poor government. Okay? Point number one.
Yeah.
Now, in this pro-poor governance system, one, they will make food cheaper.
Okay.
People will have more money in their pockets. That was the promise of PF. When we voted PF into office, they will develop this country, creating a road network, all this infrastructure development.
Yeah.
That was the message for PF. That was the manifesto. The document that carries this, the framework, is the manifesto. I personally like, and I still like, the PF manifesto.
Okay.
A framework by which they intended to govern. And people voted for Patriotic Front, and we ushered in the Michael Sataletty administration. 2.5 years, I think, down the line. Unfortunately, our beloved president, may his soul rest in peace, he passed on. Then there was that wind of continuation. That's how President Edgar Lungu took over. Remember now, when President Lungu took over, he was very straight about his vision. He said, I don't have a vision. The Patriotic Front has a vision. Okay?
Okay.
It is this vision that I'm going to carry on the mandate. Now, when the Patriotic Front under President Edgar Lungu, okay, took over, we saw accelerated development. Implementation of the roadmap that the late President Michael Sata had left. One, there was the link Zambia 4000. You remember?
Yes.
Save Zambia. That was to change infrastructure development. We saw the airports being constructed. Zambia became a construction site.
Yes, sir.
After the Edgar Lungu had taken over, following the vision of the late President Michael Sata, he took over the vision and started implementing all these processes. But one area that was continuously going down and failing was the agriculture sector. You agree with me that when the PS took over, there was hunger looming under Rupia Band. When PS took over, things never changed. Okay? People started having more money in their pockets. They were displaying money on mattresses in huge millions. Okay? Everywhere. That is one of the things maybe I and many other Zambians never liked. So there was mismanagement of these resources. When PF took over in 2011, okay, you will be interested to know now that Zambia ikawa na Ngongole, Charo ikawa na Ngongole. And Ngongole ikawa itoko only $1.9 billion. Just slightly under $2 billion. Okay, in 2011. But by the end of 2021, the debt rose from $1.9 billion to $13 billion. External debt.
Yeah.
Not internal debt. I'm talking only about external debt. So, as a country, in this management of the economy, management of the affairs on behalf of the people, PF had embarked on a project to, one, build schools, build hospitals, build roads. Our expenditure was more than our income generated. So, ikuanga ni para mkonzi, ndine farma ini. Mundawane, ufunga mabagi yari 100. Ufunga mabagi yari 100, tumba limoza, isiri 100 kwa chapia zmirele waka. Mwendo para yamara vura chihanya na gulisa mpanga 6,000. Kwenye narutoka pwirika ndarama, nuzamba umanga nyumba ya 200,000. So para pumanga nyumba para, ka vanipandalama chikwere tera 200,000. Zinyake nambo guramola, zinyake nambo gunapu, zinyake, that is the problem that
Yes, Mr. Zulu, go ahead.
What I didn't like about PF, and that's why I didn't dine with them. I want to stay with them.
All right. And you participated greatly in ensuring that the PF was ousted so that we can have the new Dawn government in place. And today, safely to say that it's 2 years since President Hakainde Hichilema took over office. Are you happy with the change that you helped bring in the country?
So, Professor Lumumba, one Professor Lumumba said, if one takes too long to explain what is that they have done, it means they have done nothing.
Okay.
If one takes the whole day to explain within an instant, what could you do? So, like I said, on good governance, okay?
Yeah.
The role of government is to create a framework around which it will operate, okay? So when UPND took over in 2021, it ngati nimwe boma ikuanga mahara chokoro.
Yeah.
Para ukasanga mwana 80 wose mbako. Para ukasanga gombeza ndo mara yose ndako. So Apa Boma taking over and inherited authority to rule. The Zambian people gave the mandate to the UPND. The UPND government took over everything. One, the debt itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we promised the Zambian people that Bali will fix the debt itself, the agriculture sector, which was in shambles itself. Yes, everything, health, all the things that the PF left, UPND inherited as a government. After inheriting those things, I must tell you that I am happy with most of the progress made by the UPND government.
If we were to rate them at a scale of 10, what would be your rating?
Out of the scale of 10,
yeah,
that is a very, very good one. That's a very good one, Ngozi. Out of a scale of 10, I would say more than 75%.
So we say 7.5.
7.5.
All right. As you have just done that, before you go ahead, sir, I want to take you way back to the 10-point plan of the UPND.
Thank you.
There was a statement in there that said the reinstatement of nurses and improvement of clinics and hospitals. Has that been done?
Reinstatement of nurses?
Yes.
The nurses which were fired?
Yes. Have they been reinstated?
So not only nurses, a lot of civil servants who were unfairly transferred, others were unfairly demoted. Remember the current bodyguard to the president, Shatu Wakunguma, was fired by the Zambia police. So a lot of civil servants were reinstated. The president went ahead to even put up a policy where you can request a transfer so that you can follow your wife or your wife can follow you, to strengthen the bond between families. That has been done. It might not have been done everyone as expected, but that's what it is.
You called it uniting families. There are still a number of families that are complaining that this has not happened. They are not reuniting with their families as planned by the UPND as a party as well as government now. What do you think could have gone wrong? Because I saw there was some statement that were coming more like memes on social media, where others were jokingly saying that we don't want to reunite. Why are you forcing us to unite? I want my wife or husband to still be where they are. And that meme seemed to have materialized now because the majority of them have not united. Where do you think this has gone wrong?
I think I don't have data to state that it's majority of those who have applied. I don't have that data. But I can tell you that a good number have been reunited. What happens is the direction. In a kumbacha urohevi pomuspane, that is the post-election. That does not mean a leader has failed to give a police direction. No. So the leader, President Hakainde Hichilema, gave a policy direction to the system. Okay? The system is the one which is supposed to implement the policy direction. And one of the cardinal points that were put in the system is reuniting families, reinstatement of workers who were unfairly dismissed, and some of the workers, why have not been reinstated. Each case was dealt with individually by the PSMD that created a committee to look at each case on its own. Some were issues to do with misbehavior. If someone was dismissed because of their misbehavior, mbwe tekaboza na machero atiari, ini wakazikiza njito, wakanifuna polisi, wakanifuna mboma, chifu kwa chakutinga sapota ngalupi yangi, there was a report. So Muboma Kanjiko from Abuja, they always create, you have your file. If you work in government, I work in government myself. My file is still there.
Okay.
Your file. So they go file by file.
Okay.
Uli wakamfungana dinchito, chifukwa chikalapo, para wasanga uchifukwa pakaji. Chifukwa chenchini chokamfungia shuni kaji. If chifukwa chilito tarantaboza, they examine the reasons. No. This was out of vindictiveness. But then also remember,
so
civil servants are not politicians.
So are we safe to mark that one as it has happened?
That one has happened. For me, and I think it is an ongoing process.
Yeah.
That one we should create a tick. Because the president has gone beyond by actually giving a directive that these families should unite. People should be reinstated who were unfairly treated. And he has demonstrated by even picking Shapu Wakunguma as his personal deputy.
Let's move on, Mr. Zulu. The lifting of the wage and employment freeze, has that been done?
So, when UPND took over, like I explained, they also inherited a debt.
Yeah.
So you increase wages, you put all these emoluments when you have money in coffers. Government currently, revenue, income, is not equivalent to expenditure. We have less income, we have higher expenditure. However, this government went beyond that. There was a 10% increase. I think that was last year. If that is to, if I remember very well, was it 10 to 12%, somewhere there? Yes, that was done. This year, I have never heard of any increase.
All right. Should we say that has been partially done or fully done?
But the increase was minimal.
Very minimal.
Okay. The increase was minimal. Why am I saying it was minimal? You compare an increase to inflation.
Okay.
So yes, that one was done, not to the satisfaction of many Zambians. Okay. Because we have issues to deal with. At that point, we had not yet sorted out the issue of debt restructuring and the like.
Let's move on, sir.
That one was done very well, but not to the expectation.
You are a learned colleague. There was a pronouncement that you made as a political party that bursaries will be provided for all qualifying students. All is a key word here. ALL. All. How far has the UPND gone in ensuring that this is also met?
So, your question drives me to improving the economy of a country. No one can develop Zambia. It is us. Zambian Charuchitu. Okay? And one of the catalysts for development is education. Maybe instead of discussing just one area of bursaries, let us discuss education as a cake. One, this government in 2 years has managed to bring in a policy framework of free education from grade 1 to 4. Number one. Number two, this government has decided to fund this free policy, one, by constructing enough classrooms across the board throughout the country. And it has funded this project through CDF. It has now gone beyond. The president has given a policy direction that if you are constructing a classroom should not be constructed without school desks. Remember? So when now the councils are issuing tenders for construction of classrooms, they must ensure that desks are also also provided for those classrooms, because we risk a situation where you have many classrooms commissioned and man of current pass.
Okay.
So that is on education policy. Now, that is 1 to 12. From 12 now, after Amara school in grade 12, what happens? There are those who go to university.
Yeah.
There are those who go to colleges. Now, school room in Master Javich. And this is where as a country we have missed it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
There is what you call skills development. Okay? Skills development are usually done by colleges and not universities. Because in universities, you and me know very well that we learn more of theory than practical. Let us agree on that one. We are learned colleagues here. Practical, the first 3 years in university, you are learning theory. The last 1-2 years, that's when you are doing practicals. But in reality, in colleges, from first year, you begin, for example, if I'm going to do carpentry, I am showing this is a claw hammer, this is a jigsaw, this is a nail, this. Now, you learn theory in a short time, and you start to work on things immediately. And they are short courses, because they take maybe 2 years, 2.5, 3 years maximum. So this government has gone to fund colleges. You go there, learn for free, and come out through CDF. You know? So that is, for me, skills development is a plus. We should go beyond this and take agriculture as a skill. And that's why I want to appeal now through this program. Let us begin to learn agriculture as a compulsory subject from grade 5. Mwana wa manyenge utu mpangwe uli mantene. So mpangwe, para yuonika brown ipu dore utu sankamo nutu, ushitatsiti ntene. We have so much water bodies, wetlands in Rundazaku, everywhere. Mpangwe so tomato dura. Why?
Mr. Zulu, are you saying your government has diverted from empowering or qualifying students for bursaries to meeting out these other components of education?
So the bursaries committee, the bursary system is still there, but it is implemented through a loan system. This time when you go to university, if you get a bursary, it is a loan. I'm sure you are aware about that. When you get employed, they begin to deduct that money. But when you do skills development, no one will deduct your money. You can only develop a country when its citizens have skills. Okay? Mandu wamanye kufunga ngombe ufunga uli. Ulima uli. Nanga kukoma mtenje ukoma uli. Government is on the right path right now. On skills development. It is perfect. But it should not be funded. For me, it should not be funded through CDF.
Okay.
This system should be funded through the Ministry of Education under tertiary system, under the tertiary department.
Okay.
The system can be created, because then we can have children from grade 12 automatically. Those days they would go to ZNS. It was part of skills training. Okay? They would automatically go to ZNS, have a free training there where they get different skills. Now they go to colleges. So colleges is education. Let it be funded under the education system. However, I must be quick to point that the will and the actions of this president are tallying completely with the aspirations that we campaigned for, and are in line with alleviating poverty, because education is the biggest equalizer.
So bursaries for all qualifying students, you're giving it a mark as well?
I'm giving it a mark, yes. Not 100%.
Okay.
80%.
Okay. Let's move on, sir.
Because not everyone who deserves this is getting it now because of constrained funding system.
Okay, great. Let's move on. Let's now talk about, you seem to be very concerned at that time about the current constitution. Okay. You seemed very concerned about the current constitution, and you did promise from the 10-point plan that you deliver a new constitution to the Zambian people. 2 years down the line, not much has been talked about in that regard. Do you think the constitution was not favoring you when you were in opposition, but now it favors you more than any other Zambian?
Now, like we said earlier, about governance, the system that drives governance, the constitution is one of them. Okay?
Yeah.
The constitution in Zambia has not been amended, has not been repealed and replaced for a long time. It has just been amended. And so there are a lot of contentious issues in the current constitution.
And you don't talk about them now like you used to talk about them when you were still in opposition. What has changed?
I agree with you. So let me just first of all mention some of the contentious issues in the constitution. Okay, one, on the election of a president. Okay, a situation arose in Zambia where a sitting president dies in office. He serves less than 3 years. Okay? According to the Constitution Amendment Act of 2016, okay, a new person is elected and he is sworn in to be what? President. So, President Sata dies, President Lungu is sworn in for the first time. You understand my point?
Please go ahead.
After that, he completes President Sata's term. But because the number of years served did not qualify that term could be counted as a full term, it couldn't. He had served less than 3 years. Then another election happened. He wins that election. He is sworn in again. Okay? Now, how many times is he sworn in? Twice. Okay. When he is sworn in twice, it means he has held the office how many times? Twice. But then, this person has not done 3 terms. The terms he did was 1 term. Yeah. The term that he served for 5 years was the full term. It is considered as a term. But this constitution tells you that a person, if he serves 1 term, qualifies to recontest. If he is sworn in twice, he does not qualify. If he holds office twice, he does not qualify. So, he is qualified on a point, on a contentious point, that he served 1 term, which is true, perfectly true. He is sworn in twice. He is not qualified for that matter. And he has held the office twice. He is not qualified for that matter. Now, a constitutional court is supposed to interpret, and it passed a judgment that Lungu was qualified to contest. That's how they contested in 2021. And unfortunately, he lost. Okay?
At the rate, Mr. Zulu...
As it stands now, let me tell you now, as it stands, he is still qualified to recontest according to the Constitutional Court judgment.
Yeah.
If he intends to recontest, he is still qualified to contest.
Yes, Mr. Zulu. And at the rate
so
we are moving...
The question was, why are we not talking about the Constitution now the way we used to talk about in opposition? Does it favor us? First of all, a constitution should never favor a political party, movement, or organization.
Okay.
This is where, as a country, we have been missing points. But the institution charged with issues of constitutionalism and law is the legislature, the MPs. They're supposed to discuss this more. And unfortunately, I did not contest as an MP. That's why you don't hear me talk more about constitution. I talk more about local government system.
But you have a majority. We've seen you overturning a number of issues when it comes to voting, which if you really needed that to change, you would have garnered a number of votes in Parliament as UPND. But it does seem like you are too relaxed on the constitution issue. And if we were to go to the 2026 general election, the same way everything we had complained about it would go in that particular direction. Like you've said, former President Edgar Lungu is eligible to recontest the 2026 general election, provided he will be there and has interest to recontest that particular election. But now you seem more like you don't want to talk about it. Your John Sangwa is nowhere to be seen anymore. Was this issue of the constitution talked about because you were in opposition? Now that you're in government, you feel it doesn't concern you anymore? Because you convinced Zambians on that particular regard, and they followed you in that particular aspect.
Yes, first of all, I followed constitutional lawyer John Sangwa, all his programs. Lawyers fought to defend the constitution. And the point that John Sangwa had was that Edgar Lungu was not eligible. Even KBF, he clearly indicated Edgar Lungu was not eligible. And these people still stand with that.
Yeah.
And if you follow very carefully about the whole constitution, the only contentious issue that the UPND discussed seriously and talked about day in, day out was eligibility, because that was defiling the constitution. So when Edgar Lungu lost, the question was, do we still talk about the constitution?
So should we give you 0 out of 10 for providing a new constitution to Zambians?
On constitution matter,
yeah,
it has gone dead. That's why I didn't give 10 out of 10.
Okay,
that is one of the issues that we should revamp, and we have failed on the constitution matter.
0 out of 10.
I've never heard of the proposals brought by Ministry of Justice to Parliament.
You're very comfortable now. Let's move on, sir.
Yes.
Another great issue that you talked much on your 10-point plan was the care of street vendors. The care of street vendors. Tell us more. What did you mean there? Because it does seem more like the status quo has changed today. Has it?
So, akuru para ukumbogula chintu uruta ku market. Point number 1. Chintu chili chose ugulisha market. Chifukwa kukula maro waya ugulishirako. 1. Chifukwa para ugulisa ura ukweneke ugulishira. Maji osangika, vimbuzi viliko, wakanso nao vangachita msongo, vangakupara kuti vambe kupiera maro yara. Has UPND built markets? That's the next question. Through CDF, few markets have been built. However, there were existing markets in this country. Okay? Where I stay, I see people selling merchandise along the street.
Yeah.
And people who drive through mostly are the ones who buy than those who walk along the street. So, a problem is created by the buyer. The buyer doesn't have time to go and park, enter the market, get what they want, move out of the market, and go. So what care has been done to these people? A decision has been made and a circular has been circulated that people should move to market. When a buyer sees that there are no things on the street, definitely they follow people in the market.
You didn't.
Now, there is an impact to this.
Maybe before we look at the impact, sir, from the 10-point plan, the statement didn't say care for marketeers. It said care for street vendors, meaning you recognize the part of street vending and you respected it, but you wanted a way of improving street vending. But what you're doing is not improving it. You're actually caring for marketeers and not street vendors. What could be the problem there? You promise street vendors that you care for them, not marketeers, so to say, because you know that marketeers are already catered for. They're in the markets.
So when the street vendors move to the market, they form cooperatives. The first care that this government has done, it has created a driving tool to empower these marketeers. Don't tell me, unless in Mungazi maybe, it's the only constituency where marketeers are not receiving empowerment funds. Or maybe these funds are given indiscriminately. That is where the problem is. So the president gives a policy direction, okay? When these people are in these markets and they are together, they form cooperatives. There is money for them.
You and I, Mr. Zulu, know that street vendors don't trade in markets.
Yes.
What did you mean when you said you care for them? As street vendors, not as marketeers?
My understanding is that our street vendors, okay, me have owned a small shop before.
Yeah.
And I've had a situation where I open my shop around 8-9 hours. I find the whole front is packed with tomato, vegetable, nakamana, kariraba, panja. So I can't chase those people from my shop. They're packed on my corridor where I sell. So people fail to enter, and the last thing I do also is to take out now my merchandise. So, we need order. As a country, we need order. Okay? So a bold decision, a bold step had to be taken.
After lying to them?
Take street vendors into the market. And this is the unfortunate thing. Most of the decisions that politicians make, they are thinking of elections. We need to stop to think about elections. We need to think beyond elections. This decision will benefit our people. The question now I have is, when we move people into markets, we remove them from the street. If the answer is yes, then we have to change strategy. Okay? As I mean, let me give an example. From the bridge there, from the new bridge, which was recently launched, Kundas, all the way Mpita Pamura, all the way Pakanso, up to Chinturu. This all the way up to police, up to Kusiga Kokotigoni.
Yeah.
If we want street vending, then the question to us should be, what is a better way to do it? One, wherever kuliwantu, ukwenekero kwa zimbuzi, ukwenekero sangika. Two, maji ya sangike watu wa mwinge maji. Varienge, security ukwenekero wako.
Yeah.
So what is the better way to do? If we don't have a better way to do, then let's move these people.
Should we safely say that you lied to vendors?
Take care of them.
Did you lie to vendors, Mr. Zulu?
I've been a vendor myself, unfortunately, for some time. I've done vending. And I've bought from vendors several times. But is vending good? The answer is honestly no.
There's
always a place to trade from.
But you promised them that you would care for them.
Yes.
Moving them away from the street, their own source of income?
No.
You're caring for them?
First of all, we need to find a place and we need to empower them.
And
when they are moving out from the street, these vendors, this is an opportunity. And I want to advise our vendors, okay? Let us come together, create this cooperative. You know, the Mungazi Business Association is an active association. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if this association says we are going to invest in mining, okay, and each member is supposed to pay 2,000 kwacha, and if we have 1,000 members, how much money is that? That's 2 million kwacha. Out of 2 million kwacha, we will go to government and say we have an association of 1,000 members who have come out of the street and have put their 2,000 kwachas together.
Yeah.
We are able with this money to buy a machine of kumbira second hand. We are able to buy, a front loader, so kumbira chira, and we are able to buy a tipper. What we need from you, government, is this amount of money to pump in this, and we have discovered the mine this way. Trust me.
All right.
If we begin to have such ideas, because you know the problem we think is local government is run by Gary Nkombo. Local government is run by Golden Tembo. Local government is run by Council Secretary, Dr. Mfura. No, local government is run by us. We are the one who pay taxes. We pay levy for them to run on behalf of us. We are the ones running it. It's our local government system. So we should find a way ourselves as an association. And I'm giving this a challenge to my brother Perry and the colleagues who can let us sit down together and find a way forward, a best way forward. How do we bring people together, lure government, discuss a way, put money together, and then we start a business venture that can grow Lungas. That way, Lungas, which will attract people, vendors from Lusaka, and it will be an example. I'll give you one practical example.
Yeah.
Secondary schools in Zambia were depending on funding from central government to buy food, to buy minimum, to buy electricity, from funding. In that secondary school, management PTA created a team and they simply revamped the parent-teacher association. They put up fish ponds there. They're generating income. Okay, they're feeding the children. They put up a farm. And I would love Lunda Secondary School to come even to the royal family. We want you to give us a farm where we can produce milling. Katundu milling, we can produce maize. Katundu milling is ready to buy that maize. Secondary school can simply go to Katundu milling, say we have acquired land, 100 hectares of land, it needs 300 bags of fertilizer. The amount of money we have can only buy 100 bags. Can you give us money to procure 200 bags of fertilizer?
All right.
I'm very sure myself that the leadership of Katundu milling with their vision would easily help such a function. You see, a country is run by individuals. And we need to begin to realize and run a country in that direction.
Mr. Zulu, we are going to give an opportunity to our listener so that they can easily call and help you counter-check what you have checked already from the 10-point plan. But way before that, under 3 minutes, I want us to attend to a few things that were also included on the 10-point plan. But I'll put them in one block so that we attend to them in these 3 minutes and then allow our dear listener to get involved. All right. There was an issue to do with improved water supply. There was also an issue to do with cheaper electricity, cheaper milling mill, cheaper fuel, lower cost of seed and fertilizer. Let's attend to those things. But way before that, I'd asked you about the issue to do with the care of street vendors. On a scale of 10, how would you rate that? Has it been achieved without explanation?
6%.
Okay. which is a mayor pass. All right. These lowering the cost of living.
Work in progress.
Okay, great.
It's work in progress, yes.
Lowering the cost of living now. Let's look at cheaper mealie meal. We depend on our staple foods in Zambia, and people have been complaining this has skyrocketed to over a 300 kwacha for a 25 kilogram bag of mealie meal today. You promised the cheaper mealie meal. What is going on?
So, mundu uyoyoya kuti chakula chindadure oro moyo wadura because it doesn't care for other people. Our cost of living now is higher than the time it was in PF. Okay? When you are a good leader, you must say the truth, no matter how it hurts. So, why is it more expensive than it was in PF? Remember, the driver of an economy is fuel.
Yeah.
When UPND took over power, in the process of debt restructuring, one of the conditionalities that we received was to remove subsidies. Fuel without subsidy under PF would have costed more than 30 kwacha. So PF subsidized more than about 50% of the cost of fuel. So it was around 16, 17 kwacha per liter diesel. Because diesel is the driver of the economy, okay? So when fuel is cheap, the cost of production is lowered. When we remove the subsidy, government saw with the fluctuation in exchange rates, international market, because we don't produce fuel here. We saw that fuel went up to 26 kwacha, I think, at one point, 25, 26 kwacha.
Okay.
Government put in mechanisms, they started working on the Tazara pipeline, and started now, one of the things that UPND has achieved, to reconfigure the pipeline from bringing crude to bringing finished product, finished diesel. So diesel now has come down, because previously always diesel was cheaper, was more expensive than petrol. Now diesel is cheaper, petrol is more expensive. So we are now around 21, 22 kwacha per liter.
Yeah.
I am sure and convinced myself that if we had maintained the subsidy, if we had maintained the subsidy on fuel, okay, even 30%, fuel would have been around 13, 14 kwacha. I am very convinced and sure myself.
Where have you gone wrong? You seem to have had the best ideas in opposition. Now you're playing a different ballgame altogether.
PF found 1.9 billion debt. UPND found 13 billion debt. You don't expect these two governments to perform the same in a short time. PF was in power for 7 years. UPND has been in power for 2 years. 24 months. Yes.
Okay.
For 2 years.
All right.
And we will start judging UPND performance next year. I will start. Because by then, we would have completed the debt restructuring framework. Okay? Because Venezuela ndarama was paying. So, balitipa konyengo kuti kasi umudandaulira kuti ndarama za suru za sono, instead yolipira ndarama iyi kuru, kasi mulipirenge kwa padoko, instead of kumara ngongore in 5 years, sono walitipa 20 years on certain date. So it means sono, itish tenge spend sono, idoko. And with the new budget coming, I hope I can judge UPND. But in 2 years, they have really struggled to put Zambia where it is. Okay? In the 10-point plan, there's something very important. So, if you talk of fertilizer cost, all this is the cost of fuel. Then, when UPND took over, there's something we are always forgetting. COVID-19 pandemic. had hit the world. The economy was on standstill, not for 1 week, for 1 month, but for months. The globe shut down.
Okay.
All businesses shut down. But people are still getting their salaries. Don't forget.
Okay.
People are still getting their salaries.
Those
on pension were still getting their pension.
But buying expensive meal, which has doubled now.
Then also, we don't manufacture fertilizer in Zambia.
Yeah.
We import fertilizer. And globally, we all know fertilizer is imported from Middle East, and unfortunately, it is Ukraine.
The PFSA used that statement when people were complaining about a number of these problems. They called it global. Yes. You refused it.
Global, yes.
Why should it suit you now?
No, it was politics. We were politicking, but that was the truth.
You have even
run away from yes.
You have even borrowed more now. Just in a space of 2 years.
No, we have not borrowed more than PF in 2 years.
You've borrowed a lot.
No,
maybe. That could be a better term.
The UPND has not borrowed more than 13 billion in 2 years.
1.3?
Yes, we have borrowed 1.3 billion.
Is that fair enough in a space of 2 years, sir?
It is fair. Looking at what has this money been used for. Look, PF bought 5 billion in the first year. Okay? In the first year, PF bought 5 billion. 3 billion was invested in the railway sector. And the railway sector it is still a dead market.
All right. So
let me finish. In this 1.3 billion, the UPND has managed to employ more than 30,000 teachers, 11,000 doctors, more than 5,000 security personnel.
Which a lot of people are arguing now. There are a lot of arguments in those lines. I don't want us to discuss that.
The data is there. Yeah.
Those that are counting are saying if you were to count the names in the newspapers, they don't amount to the numbers that you want to cook. So that people can think you have employed all those numbers.
The Teaching Service Commission will actually give you a figure of more than 30,000.
The problem in Zambia, we have this mentality of getting the actual information when a political party in government loses power.
Absolutely. But however, this is a transparent government. I am glad they employed teachers transparently. That would not have happened during PF era. Or my contract company construction in.
Okay.
When I PF.
Oh.
Accountability and transparency.
Maybe they consider you more to be an outsider.
Why are you an outsider? Or
Mr. Zulu, are you there? Oh, Mr. Zulu seemed to have gone mute. Let's bring him back as we'll be picking your calls now on 0776371293 or 0969928858. 0776371293 or 0969928858 is the number that you can easily get through to the studio and have a conversation with Mr. Zulu Teleman. Mr. Zulu still seems to have dropped off. We are trying our level best to have him reconnected. We are trying our level best to have him reconnected. Okay. Mr. Zulu, welcome back. You dropped off this conversation. Technology had failed us at some point. All right. So okay, let's accommodate our listener now to be part of the program. Give us a call now. I can easily pick 0776371293 or 0969928858. Hello? Mwatandarauli? Makola mbadada njano kutumina nkwa?
Sylvester.
Okay. Adada Zulu mkuapulika dada Sylvester huko?
Zulu napulika makola tumene mawalonda. Hello? Zulu napulika makola tumene vokuyoya.
Okay. Munafumbo panyi mnandemanga?
Ine ni ndemanga.
Yoya nakulu.
Boma la weekend la Sereza tata ngoma.
Okay.
Wanjito zwanena pokale wangena wanyitu zinjito. Bayuti wapako tochita.
Wapa tochita totibula bantu kumwambo.
Tuwatu kayamba nikali. Pati ngalonda hivo ngoma masiku yala nayo ya noa yala. Kainda yakatuwa umuseso panduwa nao.
So muchizomerezga kuti nawo avasono vapumusikenga wakavanyauso.
Zikayamba mikali, hizo nzondali. Hizo nzondali. Nasako hata sonde kwa hitu mena chikuru tomene tuwatisira haka inde. Mwenye tuwatipa mtendeli. Yozo ulokuno kukaya sono mngasanga utuwa weekend wafendo wa PF cha.
Kwene ya MP mumatondekeske kushita donate vintu pachipatala. Kumwambo kuti wenecho vasangwe. Mwamba kuwa dikizga move na kutuka ndio mtendani
ngoma kaya tinda kumbutinda wera kupa doko sabatamara hiyo walike ndio kiza kwino kwa mka chizomelezwe kwa mka jalira kuva. Hello
tinda jalira po muntu waliose
wakawerera kwa andu tukazaonanga kama fafa miji na mamu motai watuanga ukapuma blender then the following day ukiza weekend
tinda jalire po muntu waliose chikalata mdachione choti kulemba
tinda chione ya ngoma
hapo mukaona ka video ako muteposo makola mwamsanga hapo na chikalata tilije kujalira ko muntu waliose kwene kwiza kwa kuno na imwe pakhomolinu hapo pakuba odi ngutini zalge kosima kwa kwinu ndipo mukwiza tizomezgenge kuti ufutiri nawo panje ufutirije pala ufutiri nawo sima ise tukupika 12 koloko zani 12 koloko muzali kuiza kamgufu mgufu cha
nangu yoya hapo na uti olwala wa MP nawo process wakaindamo na wote enye ndarindi wakuru vitu uko mazai process hiyo wakafungira nyao.
So tukatake mukavakanizga kuti vadonate.
Wakanjira pandumbo.
Okay.
Koma boma la weekend boma la teza makwato mene mpalewani. Yakati ndiye tuvimika tutatu wakarako tu umboni muonenge.
Ufu mkugura wakuluska 300 kwa chaka 25 kgs. Hapo mkapalila vantu kuti
mkagura dula, peteza mkagura dula sumume sitite. Peteza mkagura dula sumume sitite.
So mapangano yara mkapalila yakawa wakaya utesi vatina.
Yakaya utesi avalindile waka chitana watu waka 3 years mundazi.
So mu 3 years ndi mosono yambenge kugura hapa sono bagulenge ko vodula hapa.
Wema kola kulu uchi wafikakale. Ndio ushikira penjanga webu.
Okay. Adada Sylvester timongere ni paliso tujake panje pambeti ndamdumle.
Cha. Koma kwa Teleman wakole waka ulende ula wakatafuta makola kitani paka na propana wakiza kandende.
Tongere adada.
Yeah.
0776371293 panj 0969928858. Dada Zulu lindizgani muzgola nenge makola hivyo vantu wakufumba panyi ndemanga zao. Mwatandarauli?
Mwatandarauli.
Makola mbajani wakutumira nkwa?
Inende masa ulungu kutumira kujirami.
Adada dumbanti pulike tina Teleman Zulu.
Himwe UPNG ilwaka makola tenti kazwaka tichekwa paka kabonera wani. Kanenge makora mwana senti wakana patience wani
Pauli akulu tilindizge kufuka pambu
mu 3 years ya kalako kai
ni shivindu vasinta
kwa ku
kwene hapa mvyakonangika mkuzomera
hapa kai ngatoka enya wananta kulipo swala uti kangu ambamba ngati ngatatuana wan bora ngama wina papa pangati ya niwe naje mapenalty vandu vange uwiza bora mapenalty
so team lindizgeni mapenalty Taonga dada pale sato yake. Okay, 0776371293 tizgole koso batatu mbwenti bape azulu nao badumbepa mwatandalauli makola mbadada njano kutumira nkwa
aweza nsumba wiro
dada alongwe munandemanga panjifumbo
ndemanga
dumbanti pulike
ya ndemanga jakuti iliboma lizanadi makola tomeni.
Okay.
Uyo mundu ni mulesi wanene ngi kutuboma indi ye.
Chifukwa ni mulesi.
Wachizili kulijwa kuti chose chenika kutwaka anipile nile kwamba kuganiza iliboma la seza wakapaki kuvilimika nkupendeke kawasa vilimika ivakaya kwamba kuseleza vinandi ivakayako hivi vibasezi vikaku fidoko mati vakifika wakayoko manasezi vangena matisazi vangena pambana zili vaonekana vachindika.
Okay.
So kuti mose vili vindasikia pamoja yaya waliwose wakale wakuganiza mutu kujua mutu.
Okay.
Notu kutapena kupigwa waka kintu za kupigwa takugovea tonene tabantu kupigwa kwa waka sikali kose.
Okay.
Huku kusadinze huku mutapena ni training cha so tieni ndizi mtu asemeza jinto mana wachita.
Okay.
Ya kutivosi ndizi hapa nyengo imoza kunowa cha
kwenye hapa vinda yambe danke viliamba kunowa vinda yambe
viliamba.
Okay. Tongera dada alongwe
ziko
0776371293 pa 0969928858 tizuleko babiri mbwenu tiwazomerezge adada Zulu bawe bakumzigolani vyakwiwa vino mwatandalauli
bwino mwanzo mabwani
nacho mabwino mabosi ni mandani matumila kuti
kuhingira ku Islamic.
Okay, tina wa Teleman Zulu mulinao na funso bwanji kapena ndemanga ya bwanji.
The support the current government yaseleza bwino maningi yangeneza matichazi manasezi nimvoze vamushe zivibwera pamozi at once munga mwamene makambira banzanga. Let us give it time until 2026 more foods are coming on the way.
Okay.
So walivoze wamene makambacha iboma yoipa ya that means zeze kwao vimachitika sehemu de wakakwatira lero bonze bachitika moto pa bagula lero de bagula tanga ni mattress bonze same day, otherwise the church has done a great thing.
Okay, zikomo boss banyake bakumalizgira pachigaba ichi mbweti zomerezga dada azulu bayoyepo mwanheula Kanela FM. Hello
mwacho
bwino mwacho mabwanji
kuna ndine nguruwe tinkani
ati mandana wa
nguruwe tinkani
kuta tinkani
kumezi.
Okay bwana wanga
imazungu tendikambe chilunga musitiwa nao bantu ba UPND. Ni semazi nyumba yambapo kupya kuvaranda yonse yapya eno kuti first muliro ukafika ikagwirira yonse ndipo mnenza chosa katundu. Does that give sense? Vakambati muli 2 years kembekeza zabwino kusogoro nyumba sinisi yasira muliro wose yagwirira nyumba. So like suppose abantu kamba tabe chilungamo kuti kenzo chitatabe campaign nokuti kembekeze pewa zachitira cyane ero vakambati valungamo vantu vambiri after vabweza ko ndrama zizamene zofula vanzawo. No ikiramo chabe vantu vabwezera ko ndrama basa utata ikamo vantu vanchitwa mbiri avo vantu chabe niboza mina wachita vatipweteka vinhu vose vadhura kubweza mtengo kwamene zopromisa eza 250 fertilizer vatangiwa vati fertilizer yadhura milisi yadhura vose vinhu vadhura.
Okay.
So akaka living kazatifuta manje chifukwa cha boma ameneyi kuyambira kalekale mwe akaunda wonse mapresident apitapo kuna kaleko vaso. So abantu vakazivomera chaduta isitakangiwa.
Okay.
Zikomo
kwambiri. Adada Zulu chenti gawana vinjeru mwa aplika makanogano kabantu.
Niambie kwa baba tuma phone sono.
ati mungalindira kuti nyumba iphire yonse ya
ine ndakanepo kuti vindu vadura. And I'm on record, I always say to vindu vadura. The first issue why vindu vadura, we remove the subsidy on fuel. When fuel was removed, the subsidy, para fuel ya kwera, imwe mzamsanga kuti kukaya. Okay? Asu vingoma walima huko, kukaya kundu. Para wakaya uzagulisa kukaya. So transport na. Mbwana wadura. Sono, wifu sono, umusono kuri katundu miling. Kuri miling inyake, ngati mkuya kwa tigone pasile para pakona mchase na ruwa zina. There's a new milling company.
We may not mention it. They haven't paid an advert, so
yes.
Let's leave it there. Yeah.
Katundu ni milling station. So Mara wantu paratawa na milling company yali 4 mulundas. 4. Partner with local people kutivarime zinguwa maredi market lipo. Muzambia sono, as we speak, United Chemicals Limited. Karas mataos tukaguranga ku China. Matao lero tugura muno. Lero vayamba kupanga D-compound. Base of fertilizer Mzambia sono. Makampani abiri, Kafua Nitrogen Chemicals, na United Chemicals of Zambia, are producing base of fertilizer 100%. Zambia this year will not import base of fertilizer from outside the country. That is the good news. That's the message we're getting from the agriculture minister. It's not me. So now, this coming rain season, as we speak now, base of fertilizer, kunandi kuma district ilifika. Kumanya kwari kurundazu kwari ilifika kaya, kunandi iliruta.
We have received confirmation that Kasenengo has just received quite a number of bags there. The confirmation that we have received is that they have received 23,000 bags of fertilizer ahead of the 2023-2024 farming season. We are yet to receive that confirmation from Lundazi.
Last year, by September, nishi fertilizer ndafike kulikosi Lundazi. By October, nishi ndafike kulikosi. So now we are going towards self-sustainability of fertilizer. If we can get there, produce enough fertilizer, government, I'm not in government myself. I speak for the people. I'm not a candidate in 2026 myself. I speak for the people, and I can only advise government because I'm a UPND cadre. Government should look at subsidizing fertilizer from production. It is easier. One, let them just say you are not paying for electricity. Yambani kupanga fertilizer. Okay? Remove all type of electricity cost. Help them with a substation and free electricity. Both United Chemicals and Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia.
Okay.
Put a bit of money for production. Reduce the cost of production of fertilizer. Hii zeo ingena pa 250 yone ya ukumba wangu. Fertilizer ya cheaper. Ufu chipengena. If we don't do that, yes, by 2023, that story will be different. I will change myself if we don't do that. I will say, if tukayoyanga kuti, tunasachiro wei, kala wanga tupulika mbanjani, please, mmea mbaya, kala upulika hivi tuyoya, together we will pay. By 2023. But also, let me answer the first quarter.
Yeah.
Wakati mkazikiza wandu kukanere, na muonga chomene mbarewane, wakutia ikunguwa kupanga zeru, na ungatumene mbayoane. Kwene ukanere radio station, ila wakiza ma minister, mbwena wasanga nkojara. Mwangushitanga mzgora, kutuwa nae wazwere nga mzgorana, kwene unenes kwene uungu manyaine, nise zapo mboma. So when a minister is moving, okay, or minister wafika mu district, ali in charge ya protocol system chani muli commissioner mrara mura DC. Parapaka wa PS uranjani wose, they follow the orders of the DC. DC, the DC write to the radio station a day before.
She's never written even to date.
If the DC didn't write, 2, did the advance party, the DC and the DAO came to the station to check Parabiza minister was Mkarambani. Mpambo nito ni huyu wapanga karacha minister. If they have their own chair wangaleta no ikabu na mwazi kizengecha. in case it is the room, we want to inspect, is everything in place here? Okay, Prime Minister wafika wavuka, which one is the holding room? Nanga ma question ya mfumba minister interview sheet nje. No, tuzamuya wakava CDF hivi mafumba hapa bakuti wakakaniza MP kushita donate kura makada hivi mungafumba yai chukua nishtua minister. They scrutinize and clean up the sheet. Okay. So that the whole paper sheet, okay, they clean it up. When they clean up the paper sheet and the paperwork, when they clean up the environment, they now tell the minister, Honorable Minister, we have arranged for a program tomorrow. Kanele FM will be there by 14 hours. By 13:45, we will have launched this. So the question to me is, you don't move a minister like the cat. No. I'm not blaming the minister, I'm not blaming Kanele, but I'm reminding people of governance because I've learned governance myself. So I'm not saying this one was right, this one was wrong, no. But that is how you move a minister.
All right. Okay. A number of those were just complimenting the way you are answering questions and how the New Dawn government is running the affairs of the country now. Before I pick the next set of calls, I want to read a few messages that we've received via our Facebook page, Kanele 97.7 FM. Kennedy Zimba says, unenesko kuyoya mwakopa chiuta, UPND ya seveza makola, PF ukawalala na nkhaza vikapaka, pala kukava boma liheni chomene Muzambia panopasi ni PF. Kennedy Zimba. Francis Mbewe is saying, the money is running away from the question. Accept that politics in Zambia and Africa at large is about lies. They overpromised us. That's why things seem hard. Otherwise, we are hoping for the better. Utenga unyakeso ningapenga kuti tisazigirepo hapa ngwa kuti walemba vyakuyanako kwenye mnyake walemba kutunandiko afebe nguluwe wakuti they always blame PF in their wrongdoing. Kwenye so Honorable Vincent Nyirenda Langson Jr. wakuti, why is it that you always blame PF for your wrongdoings or failures? It's either PF that, PF this. If you have failed, it's better to admit your government, sir, can make you think that your ex is better than your current. React to those, Mr. Zulu, before we accommodate the last set of calls.
Anyone who blames PF for UPN failure to do anything is wrong. I've never blamed PF. What I'm saying is this government inherited a debt. Now, when a government, even UPND will leave a debt when they are going. It doesn't mean when one says other government or Fred member government or whoever will come, if it is back, PF comes, it will be PF government who will find a debt. Okay? That does not mean I'm saying this debt was left by PF. No, but debt is left by government. I first started by explaining what a government is. It is a system. The previous system, in the previous few years, they had borrowed this money. Okay? MMD also had its own borrowed things. PF also inherited a debt of $1.8 billion. It dealt with that and got its money and invested in infrastructure development, all these other things we are seeing.
A certain minister in the newspaper, sir, admitted of having also felt the high cost of living, but pushed the blame on the PF.
No. I have said any person who says things are not cheap, I've said it on this program, are not more expensive than when it was in PF, is unfair. I've said it on this program.
Okay.
Things are more expensive now than during PF. Why? Because we inherited a debt which we are taking responsibility of. It means we have to talk to the owners of the money to forgive us, give us a period we are willing to pay. So in the process of debt restructuring, when it was condition, in time, we need to make sure that you have programs that can sustain a revenue income or revenue generation.
Okay.
What you need to do, one, remove subsidy on fuel. It is a waste of expenditure because Data will show you that the biggest consumers of fuel actually mines. So they are subsidizing mines at the expense of poor Zambians.
Okay.
So remove subsidies, remove this. But then this is a clever government. Now it says, oh, we can't stop spending. Is it possible to build hospitals from central government systems? Yakuru, Yanand. Is it possible to build schools? Is it possible to buy desks? Okay, we will send. You know that CDF is less than 10% on the national budget. It's around only 5%. But
you seem to have pushed all your eggs in CDF.
So they get just a little money, 5%, 28 million. When we were campaigning, us who understood the manifesto, we knew. Me, when I was campaigning, wakansekapo kumuzu kunyaga nkatipano zamwika malaiti poinyake ukumuzu za bukenge ngwe wakati nguteta, because I understood how much money will come to communities. Pano tizamchimba boho wakasekana. Trust me, on the 10-point plan, water, how many boreholes have been dug in Nondas in 2 years? More than 50 boreholes in 2 years.
All right.
In different places. My appeal to my brothers, sisters, everyone, we have an opposition member of parliament. Despite being opposition, she has the right to deliver, and the CDF belongs to the constituency, and the constituency is under an MP. Let us work with her to deliver so that everyone benefits.
All right.
Don't distract her. We have an opposition council chairperson. Let us ensure that he is accountable. Because the spending agency is not the MP, it's the council chairman with his council.
Mr. Zulu.
That is the spending agency. And when they are spending, I would like one day to say we are now going to launch Tigone Primary School, 1x3 classroom block, very nicely built by Msagede, but the cost was this. When they are going to launch without indicating cost, so that we should be looking for costs, then we become questioning.
All right. Mr. Zulu, we have to accommodate the last set of calls. Time isn't on our side. A text here reads, PF better than now. Aaron from Chiapula. Thank you. We're picking the first one here. Hello?
Hello.
Mwatandaraudi?
Makola.
Bata danjani wakutumina kwa?
Dada Isaac Piri Kamyunga Kavwarazi village.
Muna mazgo gacha dada poti kudumizana na dada Zulu.
Lakini kepo kande manga ni pa dada Zulu na wanyake wafumaputuma mafoni solo hapa.
Dumbana dada.
Lakini tumekuwa ka politics, pangani ya politics hapa solo tiriri hapa. Ndiyo atinangira shitukuko. Chifukwa PF umiri kufumirapo na IPNG umiri kuizira nchito ni kuyoyana waka kwambula kuseveza. Mwango tubanyatu wanguza yapo ngani ya kuti vindu vapitirira kudula. Ni nani? Wene chatondeka kuti wasi understand kuti vindu vapitirira kudula. Chifukwa chandarezo wachita vanyaona kwa wakuwa yoya. Kweniso kuti tione mapromise vanyitu ya walimira pa politics vanyitu abaspanisha olulinga mapromise yabayanani. So tabantu tikubeka mapromises yaravaka promisanga kwene kuti anga vachida nati pamoza gose yayi woshita kupatoko.
Okay.
Kwani chifukwa vaka promisa vinandi ise tukwabeka tukupenya vati vavichite vyose mwaruviro. Kwene mundimo chingaviraso cha.
Okay.
Icho chitukuko wayoya cha maji. Vashita maji nadi vapereka uneneso maji tukuyaona vapereka. Kwene tieni tuone vapeka pa maji. Tiza munga maji without sima. Auro maji tiza mseza nchitouri. Apa sono hapa tione kuvalimi wawata yangu. Chingoma ndicho waika pa mutengu ukurucho mene kuti wadure. Kumini that fateresa nayo itu inge kupitiza aparatika gulira.
Okay.
Kweniso tione mambeu ya ratibulisako kuti tisangenge kondana machingoma tisunge tiri. Waya pereka pa mtengoli baswati. Kuyareka waka kuyoera todakateta vireka waka kuitenjito. Tawa nituo kulikirenge mbani. So pakuti hiyo ndio wali pa ruling party walipo lero ilipo kale ndicho chifukwa chilichonse chiwala kuti aise tinosa icho tiyo tilinosa kwene ndi movili yayi vazomere waka uneso ma promises yapaka zinthu vapitira kudula ndivyo vimva ingatipangisa kuchitukuko chiwe pasi tetereza wewa kuti kufuma ma members vakale vana vari kwajua vanyuwani ma cooperative vanyuwani kulije ni mbani amatira kupetereza futhi nayo program varije nayo point kuti vati pare point chimirire apa tavantu tigimbenge manyowa tikaikinge minda tirije point ya petereza vakuti vakale vari kuwafunyako vakulu va cooperative yanyuwani kulije ndichiningani atorenge petereza iri kufuma.
Okay.
So vabekepo pa vyose ma promises plus family vavaikango alimi ndio venesho wachana
Miles Royos aya mwayoya ni kuti ningaya vika chapa fupi waka mukwandula kuti vakusaika chomene kupambana na kaviniro kakaena
ni mazidi yawa ngeti jekule tena kala jiteji ndo mabule anda nozgeke vara wasenge chanela jiteji
awa dada wayola vikuru chomene mbare wani wayola vikuru kwali mzeretu
pambele mdazgole titoleretu mbwenu muzgole sungano waka kumtima takharaso na vanayi vanyake pano vafika kale 0776371293 pa 0969928858 Kanele FM. Hello
matandarauli
makola matandarauli
unogwizirami kimbama machinaka.
Okay.
Ile msemanga waka
Yoyana mama
ine kutokoza pa mapromise wakati pa NCHEZGO yake tukiwaona na maso.
Okay.
Wakati yale maskula wengira free liko nazi wana kushauri kukuuzele.
Okay.
Ya itengeneza ngezeshito avachitori kungazi kuwaona ya biriji adezi ndati kuibeka na maso sono kredi ya kala njikuru tendi ndize tole zikike pandazi.
Okay.
Isa mchokozo hata isoma mzanda ya mlimtendele mapambana kumasinda hata kakomeza za chomene kwa kakura kuzipa za ngozi za kuchaika.
Okay.
Kone paso na upano kurizi yai kutokoza ngewaka hata sana mungu wajiuta. Kanzi wa mwe wa wantu ikomu
taonga chomene 0776371293 pa 0969928858 vachitatu ava Kanele FM. Hello
nkoma matandalauli
natandala kwali namwe
akola kuno nguphalaze ndine Kenya
adada dumbani tipulike
angoma kuyoya uyo unenesko iboma ili tisuzgenge tavantu wesi
musuzikirenge mphani
bwana chakachino kuli kungeneana manyumba kuphanya manyumba chifukwa cha njala
vakulwa vayangu
vakulwa bwana thumba limoza munthu angalimira chimunda chitalitali chakachino kuli njala bwana yakuti boma langeneza njala yakuti zani muone kuli ntchito makayo chini la sakari ma 150 so ili boma ili ndakuti walemereretu usauka mbwenu extremely bad. Sure bwana
ndio mazwe kamangu nayo dada taonga kwa kara babiri 0776371293 pa 0969928858 Kanele FM. Hello
Kanele
nada dada mwatandalauli ndi mwanjana mtumirango
ya hata mwana mshataji tibizini rundazi
Mr. Budget dumbani tipulike nindemanga panjifumbo
ya ndemanga haka paka chipani konowanga.
Okay.
Ya kaka chipani konowanga
yoeskani kwa dada tipulike vile yoeskaniko tipulike makola
ngutika chipani konowa chomene aka kalije na kafuwa kaliko ose ya ichufuka vindu kuona kuseleza vyo kutinja.
Okay.
Kwamba na hii viwanda vikawa kusaona kusaona wapa hivi.
Okay.
Kwenye akakashikana ngone no.
Okay.
Viwanda vitandao kazi yake vilekeni vijaira waka.
Mazwayo wezgani mwatuka yo yani makola mpawa ile spano mkuyoya mungachema muntu kuti viwantu cha.
Okay, sante sana vantu walijaira waka kupita waka be
taonga tatu
kwenye akachika achikani keep up.
Okay. 0776371293 pa 0969928858 kutola ba umaliro nkanira mwatandalauli mwatandalauli
kuna matenda
makola yoeskani kwa dada magona kale mbajana kutumirango
Ubiomo Christophe.
Okay.
Hawa dada kumapa wakuyoya makora
ndemanga ino ikuti
ya pake boma latondeka.
Boma latondeka.
Latondeka hatu. Dali.
All right. Tongere nkanira. All right. So the lines are off. Thank you so much for having participated. Mr. Zulu, please attend to their concerns.
Onani muntu aliyese pawairesi uyoya cha kusingo kuti boma lipuliki
Nati
ndipo ngumanya chimunetera maprograma ya kuti kauzganga nfiti ntinganengi
nati pana
so wala wangu yoya cha kumtima kuti vindu vingenda nte kuti boma lende nte ndipo tipara muntu wakuchifka ndipo wakuzuzura cha so kutoa wazorendene akuru para wangu budako kadoko it's not utafunyira popiefu that language was part of it so ila language yangu wa makorai tupepe skamba wa iresi napulika fundo ya kuti vindu vadura manya hiyo fundo na kwa skapu kuti boma tenti pe kompata padoko kudura kwa ufungo kupilikana diufu wa kwera kwene kukajuriza manyumbai para mwaba yuwaoni ni moyo hera hii boma fundo imoza hiyo mkumba chaku zerezga ichimangu uyo yapo ya ivikashtika kumambo kumaraira chikashtika kura kumambo ngoyo yanga chipani cha wene ngoyo ya ine kuwa Teleman Zulu.
Okay.
Njo chikashtika nyengoira para Brenda wakati wa shite donate mama. Nyengoira ngazuzura napa napo nzuzura ngeso nditu.
Kweneso kukavasuvanya matavinu vaviri pavala vakasuzga Brenda vala kumalaira au kuna kosu vakavakosu. Mbwenu mavideo yaliko yalikuvasangasa.
Nure mazina cha nyengoira ngazunura mazina. So lino nzunura mazina cha.
Okay.
Nati waka nizuzureso my leaders wa Japan. A president always stick to what the president says. Follow the rule of law. Venezuela mambo mbakufumu. Isitosi turuta kumambo kutingwitu. Tushitatendi wotichema tabano. Para mwasanga mundu imwe mkumba chawa ndare kumambo. Mambo fumaniko. Para imwe mkumba chawa fumaniko ndinga. Ine nkiza kurundazi hapa sonsono. Ukawa mwambo witu watumbuka kuronga. Vila vikashitika kumaraira vila. Padoko nako kwitu nde vikashitika. Padoko. So wadu wakaona cha ichingashtika. Karuta wakapuka maiki kwa master of ceremony. Kushita control program. Mwambo ngwatosika watu. Venezuela mambo wana royal establishment. Wana ivo kumba kuona. Para yu wako uchona choinera ukachema itigarungu uchitatendi. Wachema president wakumararu kuzashitatendi. Ndikoto waka karapasi waka yuwairana. Ila mambo ni programu ya boma yai. Ni programu ya traditional council. Boma hii fumenge kukarupendi mambo wa mwako. Boma rupendi kukaruzi mambo wa mwako. Ukawako. So mwambo ya ufumu kireke kukorako cha kireke kulengeska chipani chwa. Kwa nkazina ni makandidate. Na wea ine kuwa candidate wakare nilionapo vindu vinyake vidoko hivi wandu wakuvya. Mwenu mwalu ziska chipani.
Pakubaniako waka na mazo ya mkuyo ya dada Zulu. Kunda royal establishment. Wapeleka ma statement ndipo mu statement yao wakupala kuti we demand for the transfer of Mambwe DC as we still wait for the president to meet us over the violent behavior.
Unawela mkozi nati nkumbari kuyo mazina ya wandu chukwa hiyo statement nayo naiwona
mwaiwona ka
so ine nakana kuyo mazina ya wandu.
Okay.
So ichi nkumba kuyo wakaja kuti urije dele iyo mundu walizuzura PF kwambura kuzuzura kadarizi. Urikede. That is how much people hated Kadarism. So, a president HH walikanira tukadarism. Ivo mchita para mstamamweka, mwije blessing ya president. Para wazampulika, manyake wazamkuoleka. A president umanya ivinyake vishtika. So tenti chile nkaro, tutumbike miambo, tutumbike mafumu, tutumbike maridas, wose. Ine ma MP, ma council chairman, olomba opposition, wapandiki uremu.
All right.
Okay. Because government should explain program it is a system.
All right.
And this system has to be supported because the system supports the prime leader who is the president.
Okay.
Now
Adada Zulu apo tikumazga nkhanira ndondomeko hitu. Pangwa mazgo au mangu yoya pakwamba pala. Ya mazgo gala ya kulongola kuti you are a man of principles. Muka kanana nacho chipani cha PF kupitirizga ulongozi chifukwa mkaonamu kutondeka na upusikizgi. Usange chipani cha UPND chatondeka kufiska mapangano gake kufikira mvisola vya 2026. Tirindizge chikwa imwe.
Inaweza mfumamo para watondeka kufiska not wanga fiska vote 100% yai kwene para watondeka kufiska less than 70% of that which we promised. Inaweza mfumamo so no ndene warongozi liwa wenu USLP
Adada Zulu
constituency MP my brother Munia Zulu. Lundazi constituency MP Mama Brenda Nyirenda. Chasefu MP Mishe Kinyambozi. Chama North, Chama South, wote wakapange consortium pamoja na mafumu wakarapasi. Go and meet the RDA. Go and meet a president and beg for us kutinoze nkomse undoa yanangikai. How will we look like para vura yawa? Ndivyo yoyengi. Ndivyo yoyengi. Ndare ziheni. Para tisu zikenge tuwa setaro tosi. Whether ruling or opposition.
Adada Zulu.
Kundazi sono nde. Nipange apiu imoza. Rainy season ikwiza. Njara iti uona sono. Part of it was making of the cadres. Wakapanga ma-cooperative. Inenga yoya chara. Wakapanga ma-cooperative watu wakuteza. Teza nyake wakakuita kumali. Vila tientileke makata. Tientileke let's help the president. Kuta agricultural program ikari sustainable. Ngoma tiime vinani. Awa in charge of agriculture. Adako, Apako should create a deliberate policy and framework kuseza pamoja na mafumu. Kuchekinga ma-cooperative registers kuti apata unapo Teleman Zulu. Teleman Zulu tupulika kutokara kurusaka kwena upeja mabaki 10. Munda wake ni ngumu. Para watondaka kuongola muda funani kuzina. Mumanye kuti nikada waka.
Alright.
Apata unapo John Soko. John Soko munda wake ni ngumu ni uyu. Uyu munda ni 2 acres. Kinga mpama 10 bucks yose yasitengena uvichi. Ipo mpeni 4 bucks. Mnyake 8 bucks. Wakwa nirenge vandu kulingana na kulima kulingana na munda umuriri. Vetako, I don't know what these people are doing in the offices. Together with the system, the whole system must wake up and begin to work. The DCs must work and create a system that will help the president deliver in all sectors. We must begin to help the president. Help the president you can't help the president. Helping the president is to help him deliver on his promises.
Adada Zulu tigote pano. Nongere pa kusanga nyengo ya kuchezga nase pano pa Kanere FM. Yehova wawe namwe.
Kunda kurga usiku rekanti kari.
Naonga chumene.
Na muungani mkonsi.
Alright, so that's Mr. Zulu Teleman, who we had a conversation with centered on governance. Panji kuti ulongozi muchitumbuka. I've been your host, Stephen Nkoma. On behalf of my producer, John Zayawanu Mseteka, the technical team for the live feed you were seeing on Facebook, as well as good quality sound here, Edward Banda and Rox M's Mukala. It's been a pleasure. We are Nchemoyinu, and remember that everything that we have discussed on the program today is indeed centered here.
Views expressed on this program do not in any way represent those of the radio station or indeed its presenters, therefore will not be held accountable for the effects it may cause.
NCHEZGO, Pakanele 97.7 FM. NCHEZGO, Pakanele 97.7 FM.